Hello, my name is Freakame, and welcome to Anticipated Watches. Today, I am incredibly excited to go see a movie that I've been waiting for a ridiculous amount of years, and that is, as you probably read, Avatar: The Way of the Water. So I like the first Avatar movie a lot. I'm actually a person who, in the midst of a lot of people saying it's overrated, is one to defend it. Because I think that, sure, although I can agree with the idea that the story isn't super original, it is so visually strong and amazing at world building that those things are kind of able to carry the movie. And it's a personal favorite of mine for sure, and I have a lot of attachment to it. And I think Pandora is probably one of my favorite, fictional worlds of all time. And so I've heard a lot of hype about this new movie and how the visuals are ridiculously insane, as it's taken about 13 years to make or so. And I've been constantly checking the supposed release date for this film since 2016, because there was a time where it was supposed to come out in December of 2016. I check it every year. Oh, it says 2018 now. It says 2019. It says 2021. And then finally, at the end of this year, it got released, and I could not be any more excited. My expectations for the movie is that it could maybe be better with the first one, with having something to actually build upon. It's probably spending a lot more time in Pandora because, the main character is permanently a Na'vi now. Also, visually, I can imagine it's going to be a lot stronger. All the water scenes look insanely cool, and the visuals, from what I've seen, are the most beautiful thing ever. My expectations for this movie is an 8 out of 10, which is what I gave the first movie. Maybe, I'm not sure how strong it's going to be in story. I feel like it has a chance of a more original story because although the first movie was a story we've seen time and time again, how are you going to make a follow-up to that? Are you going to steal the sequel to any of those? Are you going to make Pocahontas 2 on DVD? I have no idea what I'm rambling about. But the point is, I think this story does have a chance to be original, and my expectations are an 8 out of 10. And I think the primary enjoyment is just going to be the visuals and the world building, and also the action scenes are probably going to be great. And also the 3D experience, because I'm going to see it in theaters, as one might imagine. Let's head to the theater. What a wild ride, man. So I'm going to go into my review by saying, Jesus, this movie lives up to the 6-year wait. Oh my God. More 13 years, but it's just, like I said, it's been 6 years that I've been checking the release date, man. Checking it. I'm way too pumped about this. No, I'm not. I'm reasonably pumped. This was a solid movie. Now, I will say that the things I said about having a good opportunity for, building on an improving story, pretty good, but it just feels like villains from the bad guys are back for revenge. Jake now has a family. And then also they find a new group to stay safe with. But then it ends in a battle scene that doesn't one-up, but it fives up the ending battle from the last movie by ending underwater with all these ships flooding and they gotta get out alive and everyone is just falling off these boats all the time. It's insane. But beyond that, it is, I think, one of the most visually strong movies I've ever seen, just because the insanely beautiful world it creates, how good the characters look. It's all just incredible. This has some of the most beautiful visuals. Every single frame is probably some of the most beautiful stuff ever put onto the silver screen. Amazing. Amazing, man. I might put this in front of the first movie. Also, in terms of new characters, there's some pretty good ones. You have Jake and, what's her name, Neytiri's kids, who are there's two sisters, and two of them stand out because two of them are these two brothers, and one of them is the one who feels like he's always letting his dad down, but is trying to do stuff, and the other one is sort of the better son. You also have Spider, who's probably one of the most interesting characters because he's a human who is the son of the Marine, the villain from the last movie. So yes, he is a human, but he's been hanging out around Na'vi, specifically Jake's kids, his whole life. And I also kind of like how Jake has an interesting sort of arc or thing going on as a father, how he's protective but hard on his kids, but it shows that he's truly loving. And then by the end of the movie, he realized that it is both sort of his greatest weakness and greatest strength that they are all a family. And this new whole, sort of island they create for, the people, the water people, I want to call them, is insane. It's also beautiful. You got those bridges they walk on that are, sort of bouncy. You got the little things they live in, I don't know, I guess kind of like teepees. And the water? Every single moment with the water in this film, even the scenes where the sort of camera or our view is just on the surface and they're walking through the water, those are already pretty satisfying. But when you get that first shot where we go underwater with the characters and the visuals look amazing when they're underwater, it's like nothing else. I'm pretty sure throughout every single underwater scene, I had a giant grin on my face out of the pure delight I had out of just seeing these immaculate visuals. So you know what? I think this movie did manage to actually probably be, to some extent, better than the first one. And I think mainly just because it's a huge technological upgrade that has taken so many years and so many effort, but they achieved something that seems damn near impossible with how amazing it looks. I'm gonna go the full mile, give it a 9 out of 10. Because as much as, like I said, the story, I don't know if I felt it was all too well thought out. Although I think in storytelling it was still an upgrade from the last movie, and there were many parts that felt at least a little bit more original. But, I mean, for visuals in the world alone, I think this movie could get as far as like an 8 out of 10. But this is so genuinely fantastic. I don't know what to say. It's awesome, man. So, yeah, that was Avatar: The Way of the Water. I can say it lived up to the hype, and it lived up to the 6 years of anticipating and looking online ever since, like I said, I started looking for the second one since 2016, and I can finally say, like, I think this movie might be like a new top 40 movie, just by nature of the fact that I think it might surpass the original. It is wild. Well, thank you for watching this episode of Anticipated Watches. I think I plan on having another one of these out soon. I think it'll be Clerks 3, so be on the lookout for that. All right. As I used to say, subscribe, like, peace.